You're tuned in to My 95.1 Sports, the podcast for students by students. We're bringing you the latest highlights, hot takes, and behind-the-scenes stories from all things sports right here in the Killeen Independent School District. From Friday Night Lights to buzzer beaters and everything in between. If it's KISD Sports, we're talking about it. Let's dive in. Today I'm with my co-hosts, Brandon and David. Brandon, tell me a little bit about what happened last week on KISD Sports.
I will tell you that what I saw this weekend was a great 47th Crosstown Showdown between Ellison and Killeen. It was a very great defensive battle in the second half. A lot of penalties killed Killeen, but they fought hard. They never gave up because at any moment they could have just said, "Oh man, we give up," but they didn't. They kept fighting, and it came down to a great run by Laboris Cray to seal it late in the game. But unfortunately, it was just them drive killers, man. Them drive killers always come back to haunt you, and they really had a chance at the end, but the drive killers just haunt them.
And that game started out with a bang with that long touchdown pass. I believe it was to Keandre Sales.
Yes,
very first play of the game.
Ellison started off hot.
They're in shotgun formation. Ball snap. Marlon Smith's going to take it back. He's going to look to throw. He's going to make a deep throw on the very first play. He's got a man wide open. He's going to be caught at the 20, at the 15, at the 10, 5. Touchdown on the first play for Ellison High School.
Really hot. I thought we was in for another shootout, but defense stepped up. One thing I can't say, people don't know, Killeen's starting quarterback didn't even play, and they were still in the game. So shout out to that backup. I feel like he really did his job and did his best as he could to step up in a big moment like that. Man.
That goes to show you that these rivalry games, man, it's pride on the line, because that's the thing. You would think without their starting quarterback, they didn't stand a chance, but them coaches made sure they played their behinds off, and that's what happens in these rivalry games. They're gonna give you their best shot, especially when they have the home field advantage.
And that was really interesting because when I was in the booth, I looked on the sideline and I saw their starting quarterback, D'Angelo Ingram, with full pads on, throwing the ball around. It was just interesting that they put in their backup quarterback rather than, their star quarterback last year.
Yeah, I feel like if D'Lo would have played, it would have been definitely, I feel like the Killeen offense would have been a little bit more explosive. He has a cannon for an arm. I definitely think that, Killeen did their best. So they got a big stop. Ellison shot themselves in the foot, was knocking on the door to score, and they had like 3 to 4 penalties, false starts, and holding that pushed them all the way back to the 20-yard line. Killeen gets a stop. They get a big run. They're about around midfield. Coach Sadler goes out into the spread, and they just couldn't convert. Yeah, I mean, to be completely honest, I feel like the second half was just more of who was going to grind it out. And I feel like really so Ellison grinded out that win to finally get a win column on the board in 1-1. And, has another crosstown rivalry game this week.
And who's that against? Shoemaker, correct?
Yes.
Brandon, tell us a little bit about that game. Shoemaker versus Ellison.
I believe it's going to be electric. I mean, it's a crosstown rivalry game. They've been playing for a bunch of years now, Giovanni. It's going to be electric. I believe last year they played at UMHB. Am I right? And
correct.
And Shoemaker won. It was a high scoring game. Am I right?
High scoring. It was a basketball score.
Yeah, it was a high scoring.
It was 67-46.
Man, that was a shootout. I honestly expect more of a defensive battle this game this time around, because just knowing.
No. I'm sorry. I completely disagree. I feel like Shoemaker is operating on a different level right now. They dominated Nuevo Leon 43-14, and people don't know last year, that was a 4 overtime game last year. Nuevo Leon is a team out of Mexico who's really physical, and they're just going to play their hearts out for even a chance to come in the United States and play like that. So I definitely think Shoemaker is definitely going to be able to put points to the board. It's a matter of Ellison can keep up with them and find a way to create stops in the game.
And if I'm correct, Shoemaker's been rather dominant these last 2 games, haven't they?
Yes, they have.
They've scored a combined 100 points in the past 2 games.
Yeah.
Yes.
Damani Dale Addison had 3 total touchdowns. They spread the ball through the air a little bit more. He had 250 yards passing. Jamal Polite Jr., I'm telling y'all, man, he's something special. He's pretty sure he's top 2 right behind Ryan Taylor in receiving in KISD, and sophomore Tana Wooden. I'm telling you, this class of 2028 is something to watch out for. He had 2 touchdowns, I'm pretty sure, and then AZ Longmari had his first touchdown as a sophomore too. And then the player of the game, Brendan Logan, 2 interceptions and a forced fumble and 11 total tackles.
That was against Nuevo Leon?
Yes. That's my player of the game. And the Wolves defense had 4 interceptions that night. So I definitely think this team is operating at a high level. Coach Foreman's doing a great job with them, and I think this is going to be a good game.
Is there a spot on the team, like a position that you think that Shoemaker's kind of lacking in that maybe Ellison has some strength in?
Based off what I've seen right now, I don't have a definitive answer. I can't say much right now because I just don't know. Shoemaker looks so dominant right now to the point where even if they did have a weakness, it's just like you can't even exploit it because the first 2 teams haven't been able to exploit it. So I'm not sure, but who knows? It's a rivalry game, so who knows? They might be able to exploit it.
And talking about dominance, can we talk about Harker Heights for a second?
That defense,
58-0 against Manor.
That defense.
Producing a shutout in high school football is already hard than it is, and to score 58 points on top of that, man. Shoemaker and Harker Heights are operating on a different level in KISD right now. 2 teams to watch out for. We do play a tough district in playoffs, but I definitely think this is a year we might get a run from one of those 2 teams.
Do we know when they play each other?
That's Shoemaker's last district game on Halloween.
Okay.
It's going to be an amazing game, and I will be there in attendance.
David, what do you think Ellison can do to get the better of Shoemaker this upcoming week?
Run the football. I definitely think if you can run the football and open up the passing attack, because I think they have great wide receivers. They do have a young quarterback, so being able to rely on the run game in that type of environment is going to be key. So the trenches on the offensive line is definitely going to have to give them a little bit of a push and be able to run the ball. Then you can spread the ball around to guys like Juan Ramirez, Prince Hall, all those types of guys, and they can air it out how they usually want to. But I definitely think they have to establish a run game very early.
I agree with everything he said. You just got to, especially with a young quarterback in a hostile environment in these rivalry games, you got to establish the run game to take the pressure off his shoulders. You don't want all the pressure being on him because sometimes palms get sweaty, he gets a little too nervous. But they need to establish the line of scrimmage and dominating the run game.
And I think we saw that in the last game, that the run game wasn't there and that they forced it into Marlon's hands and he ended up throwing, I believe it was a pick 6 against Killeen that counted.
Yes.
Yep. Yes.
And also I'd like to point out that Ellison had multiple quarterbacks in the game.
Yeah, they had both their starting quarterback Marlon ended up getting hurt in the first half. They sat him down. Then they brought in their backup quarterback. He got hurt. And then Prince Hall, a wide receiver, by the way, committed to UTSA, had to play quarterback, and hey, he did his job for a drive. So shout out to Prince.
I thought that was very interesting. You got anything to say about that, Brandon?
Just say way to play as a team. Honestly, just way to come together.
And grinded it out. Now listen, this game I'm about to bring up could literally needs attention across the whole state. Harker Heights hits the road to Dripping Springs this week, and Dripping Springs knocked off on week 1 the 6A Division II, I'm pretty sure, state champs. So this is a huge test for the Knights and see how they compete against a top-level team.
Do you think that's going to be the toughest opponent this year?
Yeah, I definitely think that's one of the toughest opponent on their schedule this year. Last year, I'm pretty sure they went to Dripping Springs, and I think that was their first loss of the season, or they might have won that game closely. I have to go back and look. But
Brandon, what do you think about that Harker Heights team? What can they do to get over Dripping Springs and come out with the victory?
Honestly, I think they got to keep playing as a team. Like, their defense has been amazing these first 2 games, and I think their defense has to come to play. Defense travels. The whole team travels. They need to play how they've been playing these first 2 games, and honestly, I think they need to just establish the run game, and I think they need to send pressure at the Dripping Springs quarterback.
David?
Just rely on Hudson, man. Coach Humble has done an amazing job with that team. That's a well-coached, disciplined group. And just rely on your veteran quarterback, Hudson, man. He's leading KISD right now with passing yards and touchdowns. He's only thrown 1 interception as a junior. So he's really stepped up into that veteran role. And I really think Harker Heights can get a win here. Dripping Springs, many think is like the best in the area from here to the Austin, Waco area. So I feel like the Heights can pull off an upset here.
And Hudson is a senior, correct?
He's a junior.
A junior.
He has a whole another year left.
Brandon, what can you tell me about Dripping Springs?
I could tell you that they're a really good team, especially if they just knocked off the Division 6A, Division 6A Division 2 school, right?
Yes.
If they just beat the former champions Vandergrift, I can tell you they're pretty good. Now, I'm not sure. I don't know a lot about them, but I'm pretty sure they're just good. I'm pretty sure they're a very good team. They're a very well coached team, and they're disciplined if they can knock off somebody like that.
David, you got anything to add to that?
No, let's move on to Chaparral. Chaparral had a pretty good win, 2-0. 2-0. They kind of, me and Brandon talked about this last time. They blasted Maynard Newtek with 36 first half points. No points in the second half. Kind of sloppy, but they did end up getting the win 36-14. And next up they got this week is Lampasas.
Chaparral looks good right now, and I think they're proving haters wrong. I'm not going to say no names, but I think they're proving haters wrong right now. And I believe Chaparral can really do something this year. I think they have enough. I think they're getting coached well. I like their players like Bryson Coleman and Kimani Sherman, just to name a few. Like, they're coached very well. They have great players, and they're really good enough to do something this year.
Definitely think these two opponents, they did their worst of what they were supposed to. This next upcoming week against Lampasas is going to be a real test to see if they can pull out a win, and I think they're ready for it. Coach Tyrell does a real good job with those guys. They're building a coach over there, so look out for Chaparral in the next couple of years and throughout the season.
I'm going to have to disagree with you, David. I believe Lampasas should be looking out for Chaparral, and I believe Chaparral has the players and the team and the coaches to be doing something this year and have a winning season. And I believe they can win state. That's how good I think they are.
You're out of your mind. But let's transfer on to the next point. Top 5 teams in the area, no specific order, so this is not in order. Harker Heights, veteran quarterback and well-coached team. Shoemaker, a really well-coached team, and I feel like their offense is the best in their district. Waco University has a really good defense, and that's a veteran team. A couple Power 4 guys over there, good coach team. Waco Midway has a great running back. I think they're a team to watch out for. And Temple got a couple Power 4 guys over there too. They did end up losing their starting quarterback, so I don't know how what his health conditions are going into district and non-district play. But yeah, that's my top 5.
Brandon?
No Chaparral in there?
No Chaparral.
Disrespectful. I kind of semi-agree with what you said with your top 5. Obviously, I have Shoemaker in there. It's self-explanatory. Their offense is just on a different level right now, and their defense played amazing the other night. So they look great. I'm gonna have to go with Waco U. Their defense to me looks outstanding. Harker Heights, their defense looks outstanding as well. Chaparral's in my top 5 as well. They just look good as a team. Their offense looks good, especially the other day, blasting them with 36 first half points. They look a little sloppy in the second half. And I have to put Temple in there. I like their defense. I haven't seen much, but I've seen a couple of things, and I just like how the way their defense looks. They're coaching really well over there.
All right, moving on from football, we've heard enough about that. We're going to move on to basketball. David, what do you got for me?
Ellison and Shoemaker kicked it off in the CTX Fall Showcase down in Buda. Shoemaker went 1-1, dropping one to Syllabo Steel, and won their first game against Houston Bel-Air, a team that went to the state last year. So that was a really big win for them. And then Ellison knocked off Lake Travis and San Antonio Wagner. Ellison always going to have a good defensive group who's going to play hard and guard your best player, and the Ellison team can guard. Shoemaker, this is a veteran team coming back. D'Anthony, DJ Moore, Barris Henry, Trey, that's a veteran team. I really think Shoemaker can do some very dangerous things here and coming up in the fall.
If I'm correct, Ellison made it to state last year, right?
No, yes, they made it to the state semifinals.
Semifinals, okay.
That was their 3rd year in a row.
Yeah, of that team, did they keep most of their players, or is it mostly a bunch of new guys?
They returned, I'm pretty sure, 3 guys: Sean Parks, Chandler Miles, and Elijah Bass. Really, really, really young group. Couple sophomores and a couple juniors with first-time varsity experience. So very young and a different team for Ellison this year.
Well, David, I wouldn't forget about Chaparral. I mean, they have a bunch of good players. I mean, obviously they got a good returning squad. They got Damani Mays returning. They got Nate returning. They did lose a few players last year, but I still think they returned most of their team. I think they're gonna have Tyler on their team. They're gonna have Ryan on their team. They're gonna have a bunch of guys on this team that can play, and I believe they could do something this year.
Harker Heights is going to be a senior-heavy team. They have Elijah Gibson over there. Great creative scorer. David Blount, a big stretch forward, big man. Lerone James, a good slashing small forward. I think that's a good team to watch out. Shoemaker and Harker Heights, again, on the basketball side, is going to be a fun, competitive matchup. This time, instead of football, we only got to see that once this year. In basketball, we get to see it twice. So basketball is definitely around the corner, and I can't wait for that, too.
What do you think about the chances of that Shoemaker has of beating Ellison this year?
I definitely think it's going to be a competitive game. That game takes place December 2nd, and I feel like that date should be circled for everybody. There's no way that game, Ellison's stadium or gym should be packed. There should be no seats left. I definitely think Shoemaker has a big chance. This year, usually Ellison has the veteran team. This year, I think Shoemaker has the veteran team, man. They returned their top 2 scorers with Barris Henry and DeAnthony Moore. Definitely think this year it's Ellison's game plan for Shoemaker. I feel like Shoemaker are going to be the top dogs in this particular game, and it's going to be a matter of who can stop DJ, man.
Thank you, Brandon and David, for joining me today. That's a wrap for today's episode of the My 95.1 Sports Zone, the podcast for students by students. Thanks for joining us as we covered the highlights, hot takes, and stories that make KISD sports unforgettable. Be sure to tune in next time for more action from the field, the court, and beyond. Until then, this is My 95.1 Sports Zone, where KISD athletes always have the spotlight.